Hour on the 700 Club. He lived a hard, cold life with no mercy for anyone who got in his way. But after he lost the one person he truly loved, it was only a message of mercy that could save his life.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this special edition of the 700 Club. And we're just so delighted to be having you share with us this a week when we've had broadcasts live out of Phoenix.
Well, you know, it really is a time to look back and reflect on what Mom has said and, of course, most importantly, what Mom's done for us. And in this one man's case, it was his mother's deathbed wish that would ultimately change his life dramatically. Here's that story.
In high school, he was voted most likely to take a life and least likely to succeed. But Mike Weymouth was not offended. In fact, in his Arizona biker crowd, these dubious honors represented a high compliment.
To top what you did last time, you'd have to do something even crazier the next time. And that desire to be accepted, you know, that approval that you're looking for in others, it led you on that path when you got with those type of people. One fed each other, and the next thing you know, you're out doing crazy stuff, you know.
There was one person who had the ability to civilize Mike. It was his mother. The immoral lifestyle that characterized Mike's existence got checked at the door when he visited his mom.
I had a deep respect for my mom. I loved my mom more than anything on the face of the earth, and because she was my mom, and even in my worst days, my mom never heard me even say a swear word. You know, because I had that deep respect for my mom and for elders in general.
When Mike's mother lost a battle with cancer and died in 1974, Mike lost all reason to stay within the boundaries of decency. His life spun out of control.
I didn't care about my own wife. I didn't care about my own life. I did crazy, insane things, you know, drinking and drugging and riding my motorcycle and ending up in places where I didn't even know how I got there. That was a common occurrence. And basically what it was life had no value no more. So I didn't care about yours or I didn't care about mine. And I had the attitude that I wanted to live under a bridge and let life pass me by.
Anger boiled in Mike. Even the slightest provocation exploded in a volcanic eruption of fist and fury.
I took up drinking and drugging real heavy to try to sedate those feelings and those emotions. And I'd end up in jail a few times for fighting and just whatever the case may be.
Now, during this period, there was one person reminding Mike of a different way of life. Mike's Aunt Jessie was with his mother on her deathbed. She told Mike that his mother had one dying request.
At her deathbed, her last words was, "See Mike in church," to my Aunt Jessie, and see Mike get saved, see Mike find Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior.
But Mike saw little difference between Jesus Christ and the Easter Bunny, and saw little need for either. He had even less need for his aunt's daily phone calls reminding him of Christ's love for a lost biker.
I don't even know how many telephones that I've busted, because she'd call. I could set my clock by at 8 o'clock every morning. The phone would ring and be my Aunt Jessie, and I'd take the phone. I'd break phones in half, smashing them down, trying to belittle her to stop doing this. But what it was is that she loved me unconditionally. She loved me like I could be, not like I was.
What Mike was a hardcore drug dealer. He began living in a seedy underworld of drug buys, drug busts, and payoffs, caring little for his own life and even less for yours.
At that point, hope was gone. I didn't have any care or concern for my wife or anybody. You know, I had brothers and sisters, and I have 2 sisters and a brother, and it was gone. Everything was gone, and I could care less about anybody else. And I got to the point at one time where if I seen you in a car accident, I'd pull over and steal your watch, your purse, whatever I could get off of you, and that's it, because I didn't care.
And still, the phone calls came from Aunt Jessie. Every day for 5 years, throwing a lifesaver to a nephew who wouldn't admit he was drowning.
There was fear, there was a feeling of being really lost, and times in your life when you would admit it, you would never speak it to anybody. You would cover it up with your actions or with your words, but deep down inside, you knew what you didn't have. If you were empty, you knew it.
Tired of running on empty, Mike soon ran out.
And I was driving along, and something in my head said, go ahead, let's finish this. Let's get it over with. Let's get all this fear. Let's get all this pressure. Let's get all this pain, this hurt, this sorrow. Let's just get rid of all of it and take care of it and just kill yourself.
Following the voice in his head, Mike stopped at a Phoenix canal bank.
I sat on that canal bank for probably 35 minutes, just going through, do it, do it, do it. Well, as the time progressed in that time, 35-minute time period, I began to feel something in my heart. And I was having a battle going on between my head and my heart. My heart was saying, don't do it.
Mike left the canal bank. He knew there were no answers at the point of a pistol. He remembered his Aunt Jessie. For 5 years, she had claimed to have an answer.
I went home and I picked up the telephone and I made a phone call that I thought I'd killed my aunt. And because I picked up the telephone and I called her and I said, Aunt Jessie, I want to go to church with you tomorrow.
The next day, Mike went to church.
I don't remember the sermon, I don't remember the songs, I don't remember anything except for God speaking to my heart. And he said, son, you've tried everything that this world has to offer to fill that void in your life. Accept my son, Jesus. Your heart's like a puzzle and there's a piece missing and you tried to fit everything into that place. That place is meant for Jesus. Let him in your life. Well, I did. I went to the altar and asked Jesus Christ to come into my heart and I started to cry and I cried for 3 months.
The new Mike cut his hair, traded black leather for polyester, and tried to serve God in a new and improved version. But God knew the real Mike.
As our life began to change, we just had a burden in our hearts to go back to whence we came and go back to minister to the people that, sad to say, so often are kind of pushed out of the church scene.
So Mike returned to his biker roots. He let his hair grow, dusted off his black leather, and became pastor of Church in the Wind, a Phoenix congregation of bikers who are seeking the love of Christ.
We accept them as they are. They come as they are and allow the Lord to change them, allow the Lord to minister to their hearts and draw them to be the best person they can be for Christ.
If Mike has one regret, it's that his mother can't attend his church. But he knows she sees the answer to her dying wish and a faithful aunt's prayers.
I just pray, Mom, look and see. Look and see what Jesus has done for me. I want to brag on Jesus. Look what Jesus has done. And I know one day we'll be together. We'll be together and we'll serve God and we'll walk in the presence of the Lord for an eternity.